US-China relations have always been complex. As China has emerged as the second largest economy and a superpower rivaling the US for the #1 spot, the relationship is getting even more complicated. Which country leads as a superpower can be quite important to the world order since the two countries hold very different values. The United States has regarded China as either a strategic opponent or a fierce competitor by recent administrations. How does China view the US? And what is China's long-term intentions? Some answers to these may be drawn from a speech by Jin Canrong, a prominent Chinese professor at People's University of China. According to Professor Jin, China not only wants to overtake the United States, but also wants to own it. Professor Jin is not an ordinary Chinese scholar. He owns the title of the Deputy Dean of the School of International Studies and Deputy Director of the Center for American Studies of Renmin University in China. He is one of the key think tank members close to Xi Jinping, assisting Xi to design strategies of China-US relations. Chinese netizens even nicknamed him as the National Advisor. Renmin University is one of the top universities in China, best known for training the Chinese communist leaders at various levels. Professor Jin also knows the United States very well. He makes a living on American studies. This comprises most of his professional career. On July 23, 2016, Professor Jin gave a seminar at the Guangzhou Southern Congress International Conference Center on China-US strategic philosophy. In his talk, he outlined a very sophisticated plan how China should defeat the United States and become the #1 superpower in the world. Jin's speech was so long that he split the talk into 2 days. The original speech was published on his fan page. Here are some key points. Jin said in his speech, "Now the goal is very clear, that is, national rejuvenation. Surpassing England has been achieved. What's left to be done is to catch up with the United States. I think this is President Xi's goal." Jin also shared an analysis. The trilogy of an average modern country is survival, development, and dignity. However, superpowers like China and the United States actually have a fourth stage, that is, to dominate the world. The US went through these stages, first seeking survival, then developing, then maintaining dignity, and becoming a hegemon in the end. He went on to say, "From the new country's birth in 1949 up to now, Mao Zedong solved the problem of survival for the new China. Deng Xiaoping accomplished the work of development. Now President Xi wants to achieve the goal of dignity. After this issue is settled, we will enter the fourth stage as the US once accomplished, but that will be a task for our next generation. In our generation, we need to achieve an equal status with the United States. The task of our generation is to put the US under our control. We would like to squeeze the US, but it is a very tough job. We are considering various ways to do it. First, create conditions to let the US make mistakes. Second, keep the US so busy that it will suffer from depression and quit by itself. Third, make ourselves intertwined with the United States, leading to a situation that you are a part of me and I am a part of you. Then, the US will not be able to fight us. We have a lot of ideas. We are now thinking of ways to overtake the US." According to some reports, Chinese intellectual property theft has cost the United States $225 billion to $600 billion a year. The FBI was investigating more than 1,000 cases of Chinese theft of US technologies. Jin Canrong did not deny it. He argued that every country did that during its developmental stage. Germany once stole technology from England until surpassing it. France did the same. Japan also stole it from the world in the past. He said, "Americans think we are always stealing things through online means. This is kind of true. China has a large manufacturing industry, but lacks technology. In the past 30 years, Germany has helped us the most. Germany's help accounts for 46% of the imported technology. The Yankees have the best technology in the world. The world's most cutting-edge technology of the past 30 years was invented by Americans, but they don't sell to us. If you don't sell to us, we will not be shy to steal. We couldn't do anything when there was no internet back then, but now there is the internet. Of course, we will make good use of it." Jin Canrong laid out another point in his speech. Another strategy is to go deeper into the United States. get the best conditions for our investment in the United States, to make money and control the market. The investment opportunities in the United States are relatively good, relatively open, and more open than Japan and Europe, with a larger market capacity, transparent and predictable legal system, and good protection. Infiltrating the US has two benefits. The first is economic value, the second is political benefit. The Chinese government hopes that in the end, Chinese investment will enter into every US congressman's district. If the Chinese government can hold up to 1,000 or more votes in each district, that will influence the candidate's attitude towards China. In fact, we can control the US House of Representatives. The US has 312 million people, and 435 in the House of Representatives. The average congressional electoral district has a population of 750,000. If the voting rate is only 30%, about 200,000 people will vote and determine each congressman. Generally, in a tight race, the difference between the two candidates is not that big. I estimate that a close race will be determined by 10,000 or a few thousand votes. So if you have a few thousand votes in your hand, you are calling the shots. If we do well, we can buy the US and turn the US Congress into a second CCP-controlled People's Congress Standing Committee. Then, China will totally be out of Thucydides' trap. Jin Canrong outlined more tactics. Of course, we can also do other evil tricks, such as making the world more chaotic. If there are 3 enemies outside the United States, I estimate the US will start to feel dizzy. If there are 4 enemies, the US will be totally lost. The strategic task of China is to ensure that there are 4 enemies surrounding the US to terrorize them. Russia is very much like one, but not enough. China has tried to foster Brazil to be one. In short, this is a strategic idea. We will discuss the details in the future. He further explained, this kind of chaos will last a long time. My personal understanding is there are 2 ways to solve this problem. First, China-US co-governance, meaning that the US accepts China and China respects the US. The co-governance of the US and China can quickly restore the order. Second, let the chaos last for a long time until we become the #1 boss. We'll establish new rules to stabilize the world. Although these plans were outlined 5 years ago, haven't we seen the CCP has successfully been carrying them out today? We have seen reports that young female Chinese spy Fang Fang became involved with the United States Congressman Eric Swalwell. There were countless cases of Chinese theft of US intellectual property. After 8 years of China's Belt and Road Initiative, how many countries have been prepared to be a potential enemy of the US? The Chinese Communist Party usually makes its policy in terms of 5-year plans. Looking at what's going on now, it is clear that Professor Jin's tactics against the United States, revealed 5 years ago, is in full swing between the United States and China today. Professor Jin often cracks a few jokes in his speeches, but when he talks about how to counter the United States and become the world's superpower, he is not just joking. Please take note of this.